BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed, ahoy hoy, welcome. 'Tis episode 558 of BRB UK. 'Tis a show, I'm on it, my name's Dan. Hello, thank you for downloading us and putting us in your ear faces. As ever, I'm joined by Colman. Say hello, Colman.
Hi!
I'm also joined by Timothy Hibbs.
Hi.
How you doing?
Yeah,
I kind of feel like that you could have given it a bit more welly there, Tim. So, Timothy Hibbs.
More
Hi.
wellies.
Hi. All right, let's do that again, Tim. All right,
Okay.
I need it this time with feeling. All right, and we're also joined by Timothy Hibbs.
Hi.
Great. Loving your work, Tim. Loving your work. This is why, Tim.
Hold on, one more time then.
All
One more
right,
time.
okay, Tim. And
Tim, ignore it.
Okay, and we're also joined by Timothy Hibbs.
I'm not sure I can get my fist in it.
There we go. Beautiful.
Okay.
Well done, Tim.
Hello. Never record my bellend.
So there we go. Another week of shows. Not of shows. No, this is a show. There's been a week. Me and Colman have had a long week. Tim's also had a long week that involved gas bills. It was a thrilling story. We shan't bore you with it.
Yeah.
I did gardening.
So I've been. I mean, have you both been lost in Starfield, or have you kind of fallen off it?
No. I jumped back into it and went, I cannot be bothered with this right now, and I've got too much to do. And then I played it a little bit later because I was testing. So at the place I'm at now, there's improved internet, more internet than I've ever had before.
More internet.
More internet with a gigabit line speed.
Ooh,
and I
I've
thought
got one of them.
Yeah, and I thought, hey, let's try some of that streaming of Xbox Game Pass, considering I've just re-upped my subscription for Starfield, and try out the Xbox Game Pass app. And can confirm, works pretty well-ish. And you can throw hundreds of megabits of line speed at it. It's still not amazing, but it works better than I've seen it work before.
Yes.
So there you go.
So still not good.
Well,
It's
yeah, I mean,
fine. I wouldn't replace your console with it.
No.
I mean, it's. I think it's always been like, if you're in a bind and you desperately need your Xbox fix, that's how you can tide yourself over. But yeah, no. So I flipped back to now. It's no longer as hot as the anus of the sun. In my little man cave, I flipped back to PC, only to discover that actually the game does run like butts on the PC. And it turns out
I heard it's had problems.
It's had problems. Now, if you go back through the various press releases, there was some hullabaloo about Starfield being kind of an AMD first or AMD optimized, which basically means if you've got an Intel processor or a non-AMD graphics card, it's not being optimized, which explains why only FSR, which is like the AMD flavor of super sampling, DLSS,
Yes.
deep learning super sampling, for those of you who don't know, is why that's only there. But rejoice, if you will. I mean, don't sound too enthusiastic. I'm going to try that again.
I am very enthusiastic.
Are you ready? So are you rejoicing?
Yeah.
All right, Tim.
Okay, there is much rejoicing.
There is much
Whey!
rejoicing. Tim, can I have a testify from you, please?
No.
Oh, all right. I was kind of hoping we were going to go full-on evangelical Starfield, but clearly not.
Wait, can we try that again? Dan, Tim, can we have a racially ambiguous testify?
Also no.
All right.
Testify.
Testify.
Oh, my brother,
Rejoice,
testify.
for he has risen. It is good.
Yay.
Yes, where was I?
You forgot what you were saying, didn't you?
I forgot what I was saying. My foot was so firmly in my mouth, I actually got distracted. So it turns out, though, the modding community, which surprisingly will, the mods do work with the Game Pass version. I thought it was all going to be encrypted and hidden in a folder that I couldn't use. The trusty modding community has released a mod that allows you to bake in DLSS support for Starfield. It now no longer runs like butts. It's actually a fairly easy thing to do. If you just go to Nexus Mods is where I got it from. They got some pretty good instructions there.
Love it there.
It's a nice place. I like what they've done with the place. And yeah, it's now makes my my room about 3 degrees less hot when
That's
playing
nice.
Starfield. Like my room as a whole, which is good. And have been able to crank the graphic settings up a bit, but it can still be a little bit dicey from a frame rate point of view. But combat is so much better on a mouse and keyboard because, frankly, that's what I was struggling with in Starfield. I was really loving the way they were building the world, a lot of the story. I'm probably about 10, 15 hours in now, really loving that side of things. But my God, combat is arse.
See, combat's been fine on the gamepad on the console.
Really?
Like, I haven't had a problem with it. Yeah, absolutely fine. I found a really good.
It's much better. It's much better on PC, and now I finally found a sniper rifle in it as well.
Right.
So I can now actually shoot things from far away rather than run into it, go and get shot in the face. That's exactly what happens to Space Professor Cuthbert.
Decent scope, but yeah, I heard you fancy PC players also got a fancy eat button. Although I don't know why you'd want to eat buttons.
Well, we have several more keys available to us. I've got a separate button for a star map, mate. I can press one key and get to my inventory. Yeah, that's right. I've got 102 keys on my keyboard. I'm going to use them, sucker.
Could you set up one of those USB like presidential big red buttons with the perspex thing and the key locked to it? And then you could set a macro up to that, so that is your eat button.
I could.
So when you eat, in case of emergency, because there's no carbs until March. So
yeah, absolutely.
Is cheating, Dan.
It is. So when you need emergency sacrilegious carbs, you can. I could. You're right. Do that, or I could just break out the Steel Battalion controller, which has one of those, of course.
Yeah,
there we go. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. But yeah, I'm still enjoying Starfield. I don't know. It still feels a bit. I think, but it's amazing that the kind of depth of the universe and how curated they've made it. And I think that is no mean feat how they've managed to kind of balance the feeling that you're actually exploring versus everything not being a cookie cutter repeatable thing like kind of you see with procedurally generated exploration like in No Man's Sky. But I don't know, I'm still, one of the things about Fallout or Skyrim is that it was one big plane, one big kind of environment you were traversing, but all of the chopping back and forth between ships and space and the fact that it's all loading screens just slightly breaks the flow for me still.
Yeah.
I know they were. It was always going to be that way, but yeah. But there's lots of stuff in the game I haven't kind of had the mental fortitude to deal with yet. A bit like what you were saying, Colman, where you kind of think, oh, maybe I'll play some Starfield. Like, no, I've had a long day at work and my brain hurts. It's like, I know I need to have a look at shipbuilding and outposts at some point, but I'm just like, my brain cannot.
I think they're late game things from what I
cannot
anyway.
cope with
you
it.
Don't want to get
Tim,
I
can't cope with it, Tim.
Well,
I can't cope with it. I've got enough adulting to do in real life, let alone worrying about someone
a good
digging up some space potatoes
and then stop to play something else, which I'll come back to. But I've been enjoying my time with it, but I think it is an imperfect game that I'm capable of enjoying quite a lot because it suits my needs and purposes. I've seen a lot of people complaining that it's just fast traveling between things and you're not really exploring.
Yeah.
And I don't quite understand that criticism because what they're saying is, I want to be bored for a really long journey because that's space travel. Like, there isn't, like, space travel, it's inherently really boring. Like, we're skipping the really boring bits.
Look at and I'm sorry to break, I know after last week kind of defending against the criticism of, No Man's Sky's traversal is way better. It's a very different kind of game, even though it's the same kind of subject. I will say, there isn't, I don't know if they've patched it in since, but there doesn't seem to be fast travel in No Man's Sky because the traversing is enjoyable. Whereas in Starfield, you're fast traveling everywhere because it is a bit tedious. However, in previous Bethesda games, say like a Fallout or a Skyrim, a lot of people kind of negated using the fast travel because they enjoyed the journey and the XP and going along with it. So if you're just fast traveling everywhere, it's probably because the journey's not as exciting as it has been in previous iterations.
Space isn't as exciting as land, basically, is the problem there. Like, space is inherently boring. It's full of nothing. Like, That's just what it is. Until you get to a planet, there's nothing there.
The one thing I would say though in that is that actually the whole design of Starfield is about the destinations. It's to talk to a person. It's to do a thing. Whereas the whole purpose of No Man's Sky is the journey itself. So I would say. But do you know, so anyway, we're continuing to play Starfield. There's a chance I might finish it at some point this year.
Have you got to your
lucky.
first temple yet, Dan, by the way, without giving too much away?
That happened this morning. That was very exciting. I've just got to my
first temple. I haven't finished that yet, but yeah.
Testify. I got to my first temple.
See, I won't. I don't think I'll be playing Starfield in the coming weeks because Mortal Kombat 1 just arrived on my doorstep and I've installed that ready, and I won't get to play it tonight, but I'll get to play it tomorrow, I hope.
All of the gigabytes will be in your... What are you playing on? PS5?
PS5, I think it was 139 gigabytes to install, and that was before I got to any DLC.
Lordy goodness. Lordy goodness. No. That does look like fun, though, I have to say.
Yes. I got a physical copy because I think I paid $60, but I got the premium edition with the season pass and everything.
Of course you did.
And get to play it 5 days early. I had one quick game. It hasn't finished updating and fully installing, so all the characters weren't. I think I had 4 characters available to me when I started it up. So I played as Liu Kang, who's my go-to, against one of the newer characters, but I can't remember her name. And it was all going very well until I did it's not the fatality, it's the kind of the combat move, the thing where you hit the 2 shoulder buttons and go into a little cutscene. Yeah, I did one of those, and all of a sudden, the character wasn't there, and Liu Kang's just attacking at complete nothingness, but the cracking's happening and the zooming in's happening and the blood splurting. And then at some point, the camera angle changed and they were just T-posing off in the distance. So that was a good start.
Nice.
Maybe wait till that
I'm looking forward to... Yeah, I'm looking forward to once that's finished installing and playing that properly. I've got Shang Tsung as the pre-order, and the Jean-Claude Van Damme skin for Johnny Cage to be messing around with. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing that story. I really, really enjoyed the last 2-3 Mortal Kombat games, actually. So yeah, should be fun.
Do you know what I find myself bizarrely getting a bit excited by? Because this is not a game that I had no expectations for whatsoever.
Rubber ducks?
What?
Dogs with sunglasses.
Yes, yeah. Crazy good fun, it turns out. The Crew, Motorfest.
Oh.
It's it wants to be Horizon. And I don't know, it's getting surprisingly good early reviews. But I'm also aware, though, that I have a buttload of stuff to play. A literal buttload of stuff. It's very uncomfortable.
There was a new test drive that got some early sort of buzz about it as well. But
the Korean one.
Is it? Yeah, Test Drive Unlimited? No, it's not unlimited. It's something
not
like
unlimited. That's quite old.
Because that was old.
But
Test Drive,
the one that's,
Test Drive Limited.
The one that's set in Seoul.
Yeah, limited.
Seoul.
Yeah. I remember them announcing that. With the Crew, that I want to like the Crew. I love the idea of the first time of the Crew and driving around America, and that was all very fun. And then the second one, when they started letting you play as different vehicles, and they seem to build on it.
You didn't play as the vehicle. You could drive the vehicle. Yes. You weren't like, today I am a Jaguar F-Type.
Well, no, I liked playing that in beta. Was quite fun because you could be driving along and then you'd hit a ramp and then you turn into a plane and you fly through the sky. And then you just change it to a boat for no reason, and then just land on the road as a boat.
Love it.
Which was ironic because the controls just feel like you're riding a boat when you're trying to drive a car. I hate the controls of the Crew.
Apparently, it's quite good.
That's the only reason I can't get into those games.
It's a little bit of reading, although it's quite shamelessly just trying to be Horizon. But that being said, there is obviously a honking great bit of Forza Motorsport just around the corner, which is probably going to itch my car driving. Scratch my itch my scratch. No one knows which way around that should be.
Did you see the Digital Foundry video on that this week?
I did.
Underneath the hood sort of thing.
It's got some really cool stuff going on.
I didn't understand a lot of what they were saying, but it sounded shiny.
Well, yes. I mean, Tim, that is the correct layman's summary of it. But essentially, there is like the because of we've moved on from the power of the cloud. Now you've just got quite a powerful machine in front of you.
Yeah.
You know, the simulation.
The world's most powerful games console.
The world's most powerful cloud. It will rain on you given a moment's notice. Well, look at it go. Look at it move through those pressure gradients in the sky.
Watch the ball.
Mm-hmm. Anyway.
Football. It's gonna move.
So the simulation is the fidelity of it's great deal better. They're simulating more aspects of each track. They've rescanned everything. They've completely retooled everything, meaning that it will be a quote-unquote live game, so they can seamlessly, allegedly, push new cars, new tracks, new content all the time, whenever the fancy takes them. So I will definitely be picking it up and probably doing the early version because I quite like Forza.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I might wait for the Crew Motorfest just to drop in price a bit, just for something a bit different. But
I have a question
surprisingly
about the Crew
tempted by it.
Motorfest as it goes. I don't know if it's a question
You've got the
you can
what
answer,
now?
but I haven't looked into it yet. But
He's got
I'm
a
assuming
question.
from the name Motorfest
Yes,
that it is just cars.
you don't
this
get the
time.
car,
They've dropped
just the motor.
planes and they've dropped the planes and the boats.
I believe
I'm
it
guessing.
is
I don't know.
just vroom vroom cars
Okay.
in Hawaii. In Hawaii.
Oi.
Yes.
That's how we say hello back in Gosport.
Is it?
Oi.
I'm having a tongue stroke.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Also
so
saw
yeah,
on Digital Foundry there was an update for Star Wars, so I'll let you
Star
guys know
Wars?
next week if it. Yeah, the Star Wars. The
because that
Jedi.
ran like butts, didn't it?
Yes, so I'll get that installed and check that out before next week's show and let you know whether it's worth buying that game. Now it's probably heavily discounted compared to the launch.
Ran like butts.
It did.
All right.
What's next?
The Room.
The Room.
The Room.
It's on fire.
I have travelled back to 2013 and I've played The Room.
Well done.
But it's their big old 10th anniversary coming up, so they've been having a bit of a deal on their games on Steam and stuff. So I very kindly got sent a code for the PC version. I've actually played The Room all the way back in the day, mainly on mobile. I played all of them on iOS. So it was interesting playing it on PC. Gave it a bit of a shake on the old Steam Deck, gave it a bit of a shake on the desktop PC, and, it is, Room in high def with a really decent processor behind it. At its core, The Room remains one of the best, I think, kind of escape roomy puzzles that you'll ever come across on mobile. I think it's, the one thing I would say is that one of the things that I really liked about the original game on mobile was the fact that you were directly interacting with the objects in front of you. If you wanted to kind of spin a wheel on something, you'd do it using your thumb or your finger. Or if you wanted to rotate something, it felt very, very, very tactile. Whereas on the PC or the Steam Deck, where you're either kind of doing the interface with the mouse or with a control pad, somehow it doesn't feel quite as intuitive. It doesn't feel quite as engaging. And it's still a fantastic version of the game. But, compared to the original iOS version, much fancier graphics than you would have seen. At its core, it's still a great game. However, I would say that the best way to play it remains on mobile, be it Android, iOS, or whatever. Just because I think it really makes you directly interact with it. And I think the VR versions of The Room do that as well. You feel like you are actually interacting with the world around you, whereas through a controller or a mouse and keyboard, you're like one step removed from that. And I think that slightly takes away some of the impact of the game, to my personal feeling anyway.
Yeah. No, fair enough. I was about to chime in and say the same thing. Like, having played through the Dark Matter recently, which is the VR version, the
Dark
VR
Matter.
Dark Matter.
Dark Matter.
But I enjoyed that, but partly, as you said, that had that tactileness, that interactivity of feeling like you're actually moving things around, and I think that does add to the enjoyment of the game. So, yeah.
But I mean, they've still got I think there is the Room collection which you can get on Steam, which contains The Room, The Room 2, The Room 3, and The Room 4, Old Sins. You know, they got a very imaginative room 4. They thought, you know what? You know, we've done the room number thing. Let's spice life up a little bit. So you can get all 4 games. Yes, sure, why not? You can get all 4 of the games for it looks like not very
for
much
the low price of
about £10.
About £10.
The only reason why it's about £10 is because I've already got the room 1 in my library and it's taken the price off the total in Steam and I'm having to add it back on.
Well, I've only picked up the mobile version, so 2 seconds.
For £9.46. There you go. How's that? That more like it, Colman. They're going to stop you moaning in the corner. £9.46.
Moaning.
An arbitrary sum of money that I've now calculated in my head for you. Jesus.
Well, I got £9.22.
Oh, Steam likes Colman better than you, Dan.
No, were you checking it on mobile?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Bundle discount £10, 10% plus the 54% discount. What? 50. It says 54% off, and then it also says there's a bundle discount of 10% off. So it takes it down to
see how I got confused. But anyway, I can't tell you if there's a deal on mobile because I've bought all of the games on mobile from back in the day. But seriously, if you've never played The Room, really, you know, just try the first one. Only costs you £2.40. Give it a go. Awesome game. Lots of fun. Brilliant puzzles. You can, you know, it's a lovely way to. It probably will take you an evening to play through, but it's a really great game. And I think as they go through, they get more and more complex, a little bit longer. Obviously, I think the VR versions of The Room are a bit more involved in terms of the puzzles you encounter, the story that's being told. But yeah, they're great. Just creepy enough for my liking. I do like a little bit of creepy mystery.
I like a game that seems like it's scary, but it isn't scary, and it's usually done through like unnerving music. Like what was that one? The
WarioWare.
Disappearing, or no, that one where you were in like a little English village and you were walking around and nothing's really happened. There was a rapture. Maybe it was called Everyone's Gone to the Rapture.
I think it was called Everyone's Gone to the Rapture.
Yeah, which like isn't a scary game, but the whole time I'm walking through, I'm just waiting for a jump scare because there isn't any, but it gives that unnervingness. And the Room's got that similar type of thing.
The kind of unsettling games, or the unsettling movies, rather than overtly scary ones, are always the ones that mess me up a lot more.
Well, have I got a treat for both of you then, with the game that I have been playing for review this week?
Well, serve up that steaming pile of excitement, Tim. Crimp me a length of joy.
Before I get into it,
slap me in the face and call me Tracy.
Was given a review code for Fort Solis, which I've been playing this week. I didn't. Well, I was supposed to get a review code
Solis or Solis.
For reasons, I only got it this week, so that I have been jumping into it. I'm not sure of the pronunciation. I don't think it matters much. I don't really care. I'm carrying on.
Fort Solis.
Solis. Who cares?
Solis.
It's one of the two.
It's Forza Motorsport, Dan.
Yeah, Forza Motorsport. That's what you're thinking of, Dan. But yeah, anyone doesn't know, Fort Solis is a kind of, and as we were saying, it's kind of got that eerie creepiness to it. There's a kind of like, is something about to jump out at me at any point in time? Creepiness going on, like tension to the whole thing, basically. But it's a game set on Mars. Mainly set in a research outpost on Mars. I'm deliberately going to avoid talking spoilers and avoid spoiling anything about the story, because that's a large part of the reason you're coming to this for that basically.
That would make you a toe rag if you did those things, Tim.
Exactly.
So well done for not doing so.
Well, one of the things I will highlight is the 3 voice actors in the game that play 3 of the main roles. Roger Clark, and who was in Red Dead Redemption 2. I think is the main character in Red Dead Redemption 2, from what I've heard.
The guy played
Julia Brown and Troy Baker. And
never heard of him.
And Julia Brown.
He never does video games.
The 2 characters that you are playing as, and are 2 engineers that are initially working on a kind of, not at the actual outpost that is Fort Solis. They're working on another structure nearby when an emergency kicks off and they get a message saying that they need to go and attend something that's happened at Fort Solis, so that you are, then going off and doing so. Troy Baker plays one of the roles of the people actually at the outpost itself, out the research outpost. And the mystery kind of centers around what exactly has happened there, what's kicked off this emergency. It kind of seems abandoned when you first arrive, so you're not really sure what's going on. And then you're piecing things together through finding video and audio evidence, and then just generally finding people and objects and things in the environment that kind of clue you into what's happened, basically. Overall, it took about 5 hours, I think, to play through, but there is a little bit of reason for replayability with trying to make sure that you find all of those audio logs and all of the videos. And then there's a couple of collectible things in there as well, posters and flags and stuff that you're finding throughout the environment that kind of add some other flavor to the story a little bit, basically.
I have a question.
Yes?
You say add a little flavor. What is that flavor? Lemon lime?
Yes. Let's go with
chocolatey?
yes. Probably a
Burnt
bit more
toast.
spicy.
Because that's
than
apparently
that,
what
though, Dan.
space smells of. Burnt toast.
Space.
But
yeah, it's a, as I said, it's a kind of, I wouldn't say it's so much a horror game, but there is a kind of light horror theme to it. It's kind of that, as we were saying on the lead into it, it's kind of unnerving and a bit eerie, and you're not entirely sure what's going on, and you're not entirely sure if people are after you or what's happening. And there's a kind of thread of story that kind of, with the corporation that got oversight of the whole facility and how that kind of plays into things a little bit. But yeah,
I'm guessing
trying to dance around exactly what's going on here. But
I'm guessing though, the setup is that it's owned by a big evil corporation who's doing some science that they shouldn't do on some alien crap, and it's all come to bite them in the bottom.
Not quite. You were
look
right
at that
there
plot twist
until you got to alien crap. I won't spoil what they're actually doing because that's part of the mystery.
They're philandering in matters that they shouldn't be fiddling with.
And it really, like, I'm going to try and say this without putting too much bodies on it, but even up to the last minute, there's some clues that there might be something like sci-fi going on, and
you're in
the whole thing is quite
clue.
Grounded. It's quite.
It's not real either.
Reality based. There is obviously a sci-fi element to it because you're in an outpost on Mars, but there isn't a definite strong, this is a definite science fiction story thing going on with it, basically. Like, it could have been
aside from all the science and the fiction.
But it could be an outpost in the Arctic is the thing that I'm making. It could be modern day, and you wouldn't be that less believable. I think the atmosphere of Mars, and there's a kind of storm going on for a lot of it as well, so outside's quite hostile to you as well. And there's the hostility of the planet kind of feeds into the kind of atmosphere of the game as well. And the whole thing feels a bit oppressive, a bit overbearing, a bit claustrophobic. Like, there's that whole thing where you just, you don't really feel safe outside. You don't really feel safe inside. But the whole game is reasonably slowly paced. Exactly like Slough, but just on
It's
Mars.
like Slough. So what you're telling me, this is a psychological horror game set in an outpost in Slough.
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent.
It's basically The Office, Dan, is what I'm saying.
Okay, fantastic. Great. Glad we cleared that up.
I thought that was set in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. But as I was saying, it's quite a slow-paced game. You literally don't have a run button, which is a little bit of a problem when you're exploring and backtracking through areas you want to kind of go through. But it kind of does add to the tension and atmosphere type thing. There's some things, some games I'm going to compare it to, which will probably put some people off it. But for me, this was a big tick in a lot of boxes of things that I really like, basically. So the games that it almost plays a bit similar to is kind of reminded me of Until Dawn, and more latterly the kind of series of games that came after that. But that sort of thing, and also a bit of a Heavy Rain, David Cage-like game, basically.
David Cage.
Where it's asking you to do some actions that correspond to what you're doing, and the video we're seeing at the moment doesn't really kind of marry up with what I'm saying there, but there are a lot of kind of action sequences where you're asked to like quickly hit certain buttons. And one of the things I haven't really seen, because I've only played through it the once to completion, and I might go back and play it a bit more. It's just, it doesn't really make it clear if there's a fail state, if you actually like, because there were a couple of things where I failed everything in that one scene, and it still seemed to play
classic
out
Hibbs
to a conclusion. But I don't know if I could have got a more positive conclusion by doing better at those things, basically. And yeah, that remains to be seen a little bit. And yeah, like I think this particularly, sort of ticked a few boxes of things that I like, as I said, but it's something where it's like cinematic presentation is top notch. Like coming off, what was the game we were just talking about? Starfield, and playing this like back to back. It really highlights some of the deficiencies of Starfield. Now, Starfield is a much broader scoped game. This is all set in like the one facility mainly. But everything is just like really very well detailed. The world's very well thought out. It's very logically like, okay, this is this person's quarters, and that's why I would find these objects in this person's quarters. And there's like a medical bay with all the things you'd expect to find in that. Like it's not just like, oh, here's a load of random objects in a corridor that seems to happen in some of like Starfield's inside bits and stuff like that. And some of the rooms there where you're just like, why are all these things here?
1 million potatoes in this room.
but the overall cinematic presentation, and this is something that really highlights in juxtaposed with Starfield, the cinematic presentation, the voice acting, the kind of performance capture that I guess they did, or just the way that they've detailed the models, like little scratches of the eye or scratches of the nose and stuff when someone's talking, are like top notch. They are like best in class, like really well done. And for a smaller game, I think they are particularly high quality, basically. And that's the kind of things where the game really, really stands out and really makes it, puts its best foot forward. I would say the story, like, although it's a very, very narrative driven game, I thought it could have done with a few more, and I'm trying to avoid spoilers again, but I think it could have done with a few more unexpected plot twists. Like, I kind of saw all the beats of the story happening well in advance of them happening, kind of thing. I mean, so
Colman, you'll back me up here. There's nothing worse than an expected plot twist. I think we'll all agree.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
But
you were totally listening.
That felt a little bit by the numbers. It would have been nice to have something a bit more unexpected and a bit more like, oh, I didn't see that coming kind of thing. But the story they told and the way that they told it, I thought was decent, like really interesting. The mystery was enough to like pull me through the whole game. And I'm really glad that I played the whole thing and enjoyed it start to finish, basically.
So about how long was the game? How long did it take you?
It took me about 5 hours to play through. The one thing I wanted you to check, can someone check the price of the game? Because I think it's not a full price game, and that will affect my overall thinking on it a little bit. But it does do this good thing where if you go and continue the game once you've completed it, it drops you just into the point of no return so that you can go back and explore the rest of the facility again. Because there was a couple of things I was like, oh, I didn't go back to that area now that I had the security clearance necessary to let me into all those rooms I couldn't get into before. So I went back and explored that after finishing the game. And I want to go back and see like how me exploring a bit more and finding the rest of things will actually possibly change the ending of the game. That's where I don't know like how much replay value there is in the game, like playing through at different times, but I like, at least it gives you like the option to not have to like restart the whole game and play through the whole thing just to see some of those things play out. But then I also don't know if there are certain decisions that you make earlier on in the game that may affect the ending of the game as well. Like, I don't know how well that plays out, but I want to go back in and actually see if it plays out differently and whether different things can happen near the end of the game based on what you've done earlier in the game, basically. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out.
You can pick it up on the PlayStation Store for $24.99. It's also available on
that's
PC,
what I
or
thought it
you
was,
can pick up a physical edition on PS5, apparently, according to Amazon.co.uk. Other people will sell it to you.
I've been playing on PS5, and as I said, like graphically, it's really good. As I said, a lot of the things you're picking up are like videos, and the acting in that, and the way that's portrayed and done out is just really good. And if it's something where you like a narrative-driven game, I think it would have to be with that caveat, because some people just don't approach these games well. I don't think Kev, for instance, would like this game, but I really enjoyed it. I like recommend it for what it is. It's nice seeing some of the performances and stuff as well. But yeah, it comes with a slight caveat, but I really enjoyed it. So yeah. I recommend it for people that like that sort of game.
Jolly good. Again, it looks like I might come back to it when perhaps in towards the end of the year, where I'm sure a good deal could be had on PC. But it looks like kind of game that I quite merrily spend a day playing and going from there. Cool.
And it does nice.
When I was going through footage of this earlier today, I was like, "Oh, this looks like something I'd actually like."
And it doesn't outstay its welcome, which is a good thing. I think, like it kind of, It feels like a good length.
Yeah.
Oh, I do like it when things feel like the right length. That's the best thing ever. Not too much, not too little.
Said the actor.
Might see if I can get a physical version. I do like having a physical version of the games that aren't so wildly popular, because you never know. Sometimes they just skyrocket in price at the end of a console's lifestyle cycle for no reason.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Hey,
you.
Should we talk about some news?
Hey, let's talk about some news. Slap me up with some news right nice, Colman.
So just before we start recording, we had a Nintendo Direct, as such in times that Nintendo love to put out one of those things. I will say there's also a state of play. We won't be covering it. It's not happening until a few hours after we've actually finished recording today. So
we ain't doing that.
If there's anything very special for us to talk about, we'll be talking about it next week. I will say Nintendo Direct, they came up out early in front of everything and went, we're doing a Nintendo Direct to showcase the games that are coming out winter and beyond for the Nintendo Switch. Oh. And immediately everyone went, so you're showing off. So they all went, you're showing off a Nintendo Switch 2. Gotcha. Hear loud and clear, Nintendo.
Yeah.
And this is why I hate.
Were they all promptly disappointed by any chance?
I did not look at social media today, but I'm assuming so. This is why I get really annoyed with really hardcore Nintendo fanboy. Well, I get annoyed with any console fanboy, but the Nintendo ones especially, they just set themselves up for failure every time. Failure and disappointment and heartbreak.
Oh,
but it's your own damn
time you're wasting. Ray of sunshine, Colman, today.
Yes, we're not going through the lot, but we will go through a few things that we've highlighted and decided that we want to talk about, starting off with, and only because I wanted to show my disdain for this game, there's a remake of Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which I believe is the second remake of this game, because this was if I remember rightly, this was either a Game Boy Advance or a DS game that came to 3DS and then is now coming to Switch as a full remake. And it's a fine little puzzle game. It's been released before. It's usually like a free-to-play type thing, and then you buy extra stuff on top of it. And I have never liked this, and I don't know why. I'm guessing it's popular somewhere, but I don't know anyone who likes these games. But they're making another one, Donkey Kong, and Mario vs. Donkey Kong, coming out February the 16th. Next year.
And Coleman's not happy about a single second of it, are you?
Well, I'm not happy about it. I just don't see is it that popular? Is it?
I
mean, it's saying
the original. Tell me.
The original enemy of Mario wasn't Bowser. It was Donkey Kong. So it's going back to Nintendo's roots there, at least. But,
Yeah, but it's a weird puzzle game. We have little toy Marios and stuff.
Oh, dear. It's not right. It's broken Britain, isn't it, mate? It's broken Britain.
Broken bloody Britain, Dan.
Bloody Britain. Blah, 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 blah.
I will say the trailer that they put out looks way more entertaining than the game has ever looked before. So I will give them that.
It doesn't look great, to be fair.
And the other news, of course, was big old, because I don't think we covered this last week, was Charles Martinet is going to no longer be voicing Mario.
He's said that it's not that he's no longer voicing Mario. He's the Mario ambassador. So he's stepping down as the main voice role, but that doesn't mean he's never voicing Mario again.
Or has he recorded every possible word that Mario will ever utter, which is, it's a me, Mario, woohoo, and he doesn't actually need to record anything more?
I watched that Super Mario Brothers movie, and I'll tell you, they're quite chatty. Those old Plumber brothers. Yeah.
That's
and
Bob
Charles
Hoskins
Martinet played
you,
their father or their uncle. I think it was their uncle. And
really unexpected Darth Mario twist.
That makes sense.
It's me, I'm your father. No.
It's cute. I don't know if you guys watched that film. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it. I think that that's just Nintendo's hedging their bets with Charles Martinet. No, like as in like
Dude,
possibly
302.
They want someone in place if he does, bless him, pop his clogs at some time.
It's exactly the reason why Amazon went, yeah, I think we'll stop at season 3 for Picard. I think we're pushing our luck now.
Well, in the same vein as casting Chris Pratt for the movie, they're going to actually, the video game version of Mario is now going to be voiced by Troy Baker.
Yeah,
Troy Baker, everybody.
Troy, never heard of him.
Troy Baker or what's his jobs?
Right. I don't know if you guys saw the trailer for Princess Peach Showtime, which we knew there was an unnamed Princess Peach game coming.
I thought it was going to be a horribly dark, festering bit of fanfic. I'm not going to lie.
I was worried because the last time we got like a big Princess Peach game that I remember was a DS one, and it was all very pinky, cutesy. They released a pink DS with it, and
oh dear, you're getting grumpy again, Colman.
No, I'm not getting grumpy. This looks really cool.
It's not right. It's got pink in it. It's not a proper game. Where's Mario?
I'm not saying that. I just think like if you've got a character for like a female kind of role modeling game, something for girls to associate with that doesn't have to necessarily be Barbie pink all the time.
They can play dress up in lots of costumes.
Yeah, and I thought this was really interesting. So this is coming out on the 22nd of March next year. But I thought this harkened a lot to The Puppeteer from the PlayStation 3. It's done on a stage show. A lot of the levels in different kind of varying viewpoints. They very similar to The Puppeteer, and also your main kind of gimmick in this game is changing costumes to get different abilities. And in Puppeteer, it was a similar thing, but with heads. So yeah, it's like Nintendo went, well, if PlayStation's not making one of these anymore, we'll just do it ourselves.
Fair enough.
I really like the look of this.
Yeah, it looks like. It's a bit difficult to tell from the very curated, kind of slice of it you see, but it looks like it looks like it could have some cool mechanics. To me, looks fun. It looks fun.
To Wii U.
But yeah,
Danny,
yes. What?
To Wii U.
What? We're going Chuckle Brothers Mario edition.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
It's me. It's you. It's me. It's you.
I just wanted to say that I liked the look of it. That's all.
Right. Okay. Good for you, mate. Do you know what I like the look of?
It did look good, to be fair.
What's that?
It looked entertaining.
I like the look of F-Zero 99 because it looks insane.
Ooh,
I did, and it looks like I am going to struggle with it, but it looks really cool.
Yeah, it doesn't. So basically, it's a redo of the original 1992, I want to say, F-Zero from Super Nintendo days. But rather than just have a mere 6 people on, you got 99 people you're racing against, and it looks like it's going to be absolutely bananas. You can take people out, you can race them properly, you can do all kinds of shenanigans. If you're a Nintendo Switch Online member, you can get it now, apparently.
It's similar to the Tetris and Mario games that they did previously, but now it's F-Zero's back, guys, in Pac-Man form. What else they did with that idea?
As soon as they said, like, as soon as the F-Zero, like, graphics, and I think they put the logo up or something, but there was something that clued me into the fact it was definitely F-Zero. It may have just been one of the cars that came up. I was like, oh, F-Zero, they're finally doing something with F-Zero. And then they're like, it's a 99 game. I'm like, I'm not re-upping my subscription just to get that, lads. Come on. Like, remake a proper
I think I'm still
F-Zero
subscribing.
I think I've, like you, Colman, I just think I've forgotten to cancel it, to be blunt.
Same. Yeah, I was mentioning this at work because it popped up. It was like, hey, what's going on in the direct? And I was like, oh, there's F-Zero. They're making a new F-Zero? No, because I didn't have the sound on. I went, no, I think it's just Virtual Console. I think it's the online thing where you get all the retro games. I just thought it was one of them. And then when I got back and looked at it properly, I was like, oh, F-Zero 99. I see.
Yeah. I mean, it looked cool. I like the concept. It's just I'm not going to get access to it, and I'm not paying extra money to get access to it. So... Not for Tim. I was like,
oh, Tim,
first new
aren't you a
F-Zero
miserable
game in
little
20
bugger?
years or something, and no.
So I found in this generation that I got really into a Paper Mario game, which I've completely forgotten the name of it. The last
Paper
one.
Mario, I'm guessing.
No, whatever one came out on the Switch that everyone absolutely hated and went, actually, these were better in previous generations of Paper Mario. So this one's not as good as I actually really like this. I like the story. I think all the character, I like the way they, the writing, the look of it, the powers. I found it very enjoyable. But the one that everyone seems to gravitate towards is the 1,000-Year Door, which I believe was a GameCube game. I have never played any of the previous Paper Marios, but if this is meant to be the best one, it's getting not a re-release, but a complete remake, and looks a lot similar to the newer game in that it's the 3D with the 2D stuff, which I know they did previously, but the way it looks is just absolutely
I think it's a
amazing.
phenomenal looking game.
Yes, we don't know when that's coming out, but other than next year, but we don't know exactly when next year. But I think I might have to keep my eye open for this one.
Yeah,
it's funny because they've done this with previous Nintendo consoles, especially the handhelds.
Play it with your eyes closed.
What?
He said he'd had to keep his eye open for this one.
It's very good. I don't know why they do this with handhelds for Nintendo. Whenever we get to the end of a Nintendo handhelds generation, that's when they go, all right, we're going to do a bunch of remakes from previous consoles and stuff now. Here we go.
Let's bide our times, chaps. Bide our time.
That's what we're doing. I like it.
I like
What's next on the list?
We've got Tomb Raider 1-3 Remastered, just because I think it was, they're great original games. You could see them having a little bit of a spit and polish. With much less,
a very little bit of spit and polish, though. No,
very small.
If
you've seen the original, if you hold it right up next to the original, Tim's quite a lot of spit and polish. But it doesn't look like a brand spanking new modern game. But I think they're, it'll be good fun on a handheld. I think depends how much it's going to cost more than anything. I think, but they've done a reasonable amount of spitting and polishing.
It plays very smoothly. Compared to the previous PlayStation games, because I remember sort of jumping in slow-mo in the original Tomb Raider game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually like any of the original Tomb Raider games. I saved up all my pocket money as a child for the first one and went, I hate this. However, it does look good. If you're a fan of those games, it's probably worth getting. I did laugh a bit because you can play the original game's style, and then you can play the upscale kind of looking game with all the smoothness, and I was just kind of laughing at the look of the T-Rex because it just looks so crap. I mean, look crap originally, but in the HD graphics, he just looks. No, I mean, no, I like the look of the original polygonal one, but when they've smoothened him out for HD, it just looks so plastic and rubbish. He looks like Rex from Toy Story.
Yeah. I thought this was one of the least masterful looking remasters I've ever seen in my life. I was like, they haven't added any details to those textures. Okay. They've just made them look not quite as dull. And a few more
I'm not
colours.
saying that it's like they've like given it a full over remake, but if you do the side by side footage, I think it is quite a bit of work they've done. But
they had side by side footage in the trailer, and it looked mildly better. It looked more colourful and not as dark and dim. It really didn't look impressive.
We'll agree
at all.
to disagree.
I was not impressed.
All right.
I have to hold my hands up and say I have very little affinity for the previous games, so I don't really care. So that's possibly part of the thing. But yeah,
that's fair. I'm more interested in Trombone Champ because
just because it's awesome.
Game. You bought it for me actually. You gave me a gift.
I did. It's good on the. It's good on the massive deck.
the Switch version, rather than just using motion controls to pretend you're simulating a trombone, it uses the infrared, and you kind of hold your hand to and from it, and so it looks pretty cool. I like that.
Nice.
And
no, it's a wonderfully
also,
stupid game. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It looked very
It's out
dumb.
now. I'm assuming, I don't know the price on Nintendo. I'm assuming it's quite cheap.
Four-player,
It
I'll
looks
just
quite
buy
cheap
it.
on PlayStation.
Do yourself a
Four-player
favour
local
and buy it.
co-op.
Get it. It's so fun. And they've added local co-op and versus. So that's worth doing. It's basically now Guitar Hero proper.
Oh, it's so awesome,
trumpets.
this game. It's wonderfully stupid.
Contra Operation Galuga. I thought I'd draw some attention to it because it looks crap.
Yep.
I just wanted to laugh at it for a minute.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the old Contra games, so I was more interested in this than Tomb Raider, I think. But a similar thing, it really didn't look like up-resed very well or particularly interestingly redone. It was like,
I know Konami wants to get back into video games, and their way of doing that is just going, right, here's all our best properties. We're going to license them out to other companies, and they're going to make the game for them, and then we'll sit back and wait for the cash to come in. Can you not spend a bit more? Like, Konami is an incredibly rich company because of mostly anything but video games that they do, like gyms and bottled water and pachinko machines. Could you not spend a bit more money on your budget and give it to a more... just a big budget studio. Do something. Contra's such a big name.
Yeah,
like,
but
the reason
Konami.
these I know, but the reason these names like they fall to the wayside and people just want to play the original games is because you don't make them any better. You just go, right, we're just going to do the same thing again, but a bit worse each time. Like the last time they did this on the PS4 was awful.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of which, like the one thing that, again, we knew about this already, so it wasn't too much of a surprise, but the one game that was the big standout for me, which was still a bit disappointing, was Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. It's a remake of Dark Moon, which I absolutely loved on the 3DS, but they're taking away the 3D element, which was part of the appeal. They're going to have to remake some of the puzzles, or they wouldn't. Actually, the puzzles were never... like the 3D was never like a core part of the puzzle, so you didn't have to have the 3D on to play the game because they kind of made it that way. So I guess they won't have to remake too much of the game to make it work on Switch. But it's not coming out till next year, which was a surprise because I thought they'd try and get this out in time for Halloween this year. I just think it's going to be too late in the life cycle of the Switch for me to care about. Like, I'd rather wait and get this on the next version of the Nintendo console, or just replay it on the 3DS so that I can actually enjoy it with the 3D. It was a bit disappointing in terms of the announced release date because I'm not sure they'd mentioned that before, or I just wasn't aware of it. But overall, that's another thing I would say. Like the whole presentation, I was surprised how many games they were announcing for 2024. Like I thought like, I don't think there was anything past like summer 2024 overall, as far as I noticed. So I would expect that we'll have a Switch 2 or their next console, whatever it's called, in time for Christmas next year. And that may be a good few months out before Christmas, so they get another boost in time for Christmas. But yeah, like I don't know, like I can't see me picking up any of the games they talked about on my Switch, and the only thing that gives me an excuse to pick up my Switch again is the new Mario Kart tracks that they showed off and stuff. But
fair enough.
Yeah, it's a bit.
And Trombone Champ.
No, I don't care about that. I know you guys.
Boo,
it looks
Tim,
funny.
boo.
It looks fun. I'll just play one of your two copies. And I'm not that inclined on music or stuff. It does look really stupid. It looks like a more fun game to play badly than to play well as well, because it looked more entertaining
incredible
when he was completely hitting the bum notes and really making it sound terrible.
It's almost like it's the whole idea of the game, Tim.
Yeah, possibly. And I might pick it up for some fun at some point. But overall, this was a really disappointing... Like, Dave the Diver looked quite cool, because I think both of you went on about this before. Is that right? Both of you?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite games on Steam Deck.
Cracking game.
It looks great, and I think it'll be a good fit for the Switch. But, yeah, just overall, I thought it was a bit of a disappointing Nintendo Direct for me. There wasn't very much for me to be excited about at all, and there was a bit of news that made me less excited for my Switch. So,
Not even Wargroove 2 coming out on the 5th
no.
of October. I thought you liked Wargroove.
You
love
first one's
Wargroove.
fine. I just don't need more of it yet.
Fine,
Aw.
you spoke about it on like 4 different shows, Tim. You put it
Yeah,
in
he
your
does
games of the year that year.
He does that about a
Fine.
lot of things. You know, it's just anything he happens to remember. Ooh, I think I like this. I'm going to talk about it for 5 episodes straight.
I think you're talking out your bum, Tim, because that Princess Peach game looked actually awesome. So,
That looked fine.
Trombone Champ.
if it's not VR, he's just not interested these days.
I mean,
He's
there is
not,
that.
is he? He's
We'll have to
that's
go
not
get
the
the
VR
VR
Labo
Labo
kit.
kit.
So-
He's ragging on Luigi's Mansion 2 HD because they're not going to install come around his house and install the 3DS screen technology on his Switch.
Oh,
I can't know why they haven't bothered to do that. It's no good. Don't like it.
I know why he's not enthralled. It's because they announced that it was the last lineup of the deluxe Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course DLC in the holiday season. That's the last time he gets one of those DLCs. Diddy Kong
Aw.
though, Tim. You like
Diddy
Diddy
Kong?
Kong?
Diddy Kong?
Diddy
You love
Kong,
a bit
Tim.
of Diddy-
Funky
you love a-
Kong.
You love a bit of Diddy Kong.
And
Funky Kong? You like Funky Kong?
No.
Huh?
Yeah.
No, Tim likes Candy Kong. Yeah, he does. Candy
I
Kong,
mean,
Tim.
I'll probably
You love
just
a bit
play
of
as
it.
Toad no matter who they release. So,
Yeah,
Candy
classic-
Kong.
Classic
Tim
hits.
loves Candy Kong.
Right.
Funky boobies.
Leave it. Leave it. Oh, Christ. We probably ought to get on to wrapping this bad boy up because we've gone on for far too long.
We went on a
yet
bit
again.
long. We had to axe all the news outside of Nintendo Direct.
Mm-hmm. True that. So, you need to buy my face. This is your weekly reminder. Buy my face. Buy my face. Where'd you go to buy my face? You go to tpublic.com/store/BRB to buy my face. Not actually my face, but things with my face on it. There we go.
Good. It's good.
tpublic.com/store/BRB. Buy my face.
Maybe I should make a... I don't have a Dan buy my face button, but I do have a...
Eating my dust.
I've got that one.
Well, there we go.
Use that one. It's good.
need to buy my face button to save Dan every week.
No, I enjoy telling people to buy my face. Buy my face. Buy my face. No one wants to buy
what
your
you-
face. You're just jealous.
Dan
Huh?
wants you to buy his face, and when you see the products with his face on them, you'll stare at that screen over at
Ooh, you will.
tpublic.com/store/BRB and scream at your screen.
Give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to
Yep.
me.
Unfortunately, that will not result in a click through. It will just be you yelling at your screen.
Yeah.
If you
Give me a
could click-
t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Give me
That
a
works.
t-shirt.
That's not how the internet works. It's not how it works, people. You gotta click on the buttons. What do you gotta do? Anyway, Tim, Tuesday's a Tuesday. Tell us about Tuesday and why we should care about
Tuesday-
Tuesdays.
Oh,
Is
this one's a
indeed
good one.
Tuesday. This week is going to be an interesting game. Coleman doesn't know what it is, so I don't know what it is.
I don't either.
I'm so excited for this
Do
Tuesday.
you know
at
what?
Tabletop
What-
Tuesday.
This
the
one-
things
this
Tim
one
have been saying,
is
the build up.
actually-
Oh,
Yeah, this one is actually a weird one. I'm going to see how it goes and to see if we get more of these types of games in the future. But it's one that I'm keen to play, and I hope other people are too. It is a
Tinderings.
game called True Crime Stories. And it's supposed to be a single player game, but I'm guessing you can play in groups, and so that's what I'm hoping will be the case, that people
Right.
can play in groups. It's a deduction, murder, mystery, puzzle type game. It does say it can be cooperative, so hopefully that is the case.
That would imply more than one person. Well done, Tim. Your powers of
Exactly.
deduction are clearly
But
up to snuff for this game.
It also says solo solitaire game, which implies the opposite, Dan. So which one is
Or
it?
it could be both.
So it could be both. I think it's both.
I really hope you're better at solving mysteries than you're leading than you're
Quite
kind of
possibly.
implying here, Tim. Otherwise, it could
But
be a
there's also
long
a
evening
kind
for
of,
you, sir.
It is a digital hybrid game, so there is an app-based thing to this as well, which sometimes doesn't work well in the Tabletop Tuesday settings, but we'll have to see how that goes. But if you come along on Tuesday and join us at our Tabletop Tuesday event at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington, then you could possibly win yourself a copy of the game just by coming along and trying it out on the evening. The game, as I said, is True Crime Stories by Big Potato Games. Thank you very much for the supply of the game. And it is a new game this year. So new that it doesn't have a rating yet on Board Game Geek, so it should be a good one to come out and check out and see if you like it. You can join us on Tuesday. There are more details on the top left-hand corner of bigredbarrel.com. Or you can join the over 2,000 people in our meetup group. Search for Tabletop Tuesday on meetup.com, or just come along on Tuesday and join us at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington.
Nice. Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington for Tabletop Tuesday on the 19th of September. Go there to play True Crime Stories. I told you it was going to be a good one. I told you, Tim.
Did.
Word on the street was this is a good Tabletop Tuesday coming up at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington.
That you can play by yourself or with other people.
The last Tuesday before my birthday as well, so, you know.
Last Tuesday before Tim's birthday at Stoke Newington, the Loading Bar in Stoke Newington for Tabletop Tuesday to play True Crime Stories on a Tuesday, the 19th of September.
Tuesday.
Or Tim will murder your family. All right, let's move on.
That's not how it works.
He will hunt them down. He will tickle them on the undercarriage until they can take no more. That's what he will do. He'll sneak in through the back door. He'll breathe on their neck, and then out it comes.
We should make posters. You remember when we used to make posters up for EGX and stuff like that, and be like, as seen on The Apprentice. We should have like, come to Tabletop Tuesday, or this man will murder your wife and children.
He knows where you live.
And you'll be a true crime. Ooh.
I'm not sure how legal that is, Colman.
Halloween.
He will do all of the murdering. He will do all of the murdering.
We are going to move over from questions this week because we did run out of time, unfortunately. However, if you want to give us feedback, leave us a question, maybe you want to give us suggestions of games to play. I know we got a fair few. We need to make some time for this.
Or if you want to write Tim an alibi for when he does all the murdering next week.
All the murders. When Tim murders your family. If you want to see him in the stands.
You can write his alibi. It's like a truly meta crime game we're giving you here. Yes. Tim is going to go and murder people, and you have to come up with his alibi, and we'll buy you a potato if you get him off. All right, how's that?
Yes. Anyway, if you want to get in contact with the show, you could leave us a review. We review those. We read them. We review the reviews. We read the reviews. We read them on the show sometimes.
Who reviews the
If you give us a 5-star, they become quite helpful to us. You can ask us questions, give us feedback, just talk to us in general by going over to bigredbarrel.com. Over there, we have a comment section on each and every post. You can chat on, you can type into those. We will read those. We also have a link to our Discord. We have a Facebook, an X, and a Thread. They are all at Big Red Barrel, and we have a YouTube channel called Big Red Barrel TV.
Say what?
Yes, handy links to all those will be available in the show notes of this here episode. So whatever podcast player you're listening to us, just take a look at the show notes, and usually there are links to everything, along with handy little chapters if you want to jump around. If you were listening to us, as I've been told, criticized many times when we start talking about a video game, we say what it is, we talk about it for a while, and at the end,
don't say what it is.
Yeah, because someone's completely just absolutely zoned out and gone, wait, that sounded cool. What was that game? And then they have to go back. You can just click back to it and see what it is, or it will just say it in the show notes. Pretty
amazing. Handy. It's the appliance of science.
I thought so. I think you get some kind of enhanced chapter stuff on iOS devices as well.
It's my favorite.
I have no idea if it works. I've been adding them for years. I have no idea if they work or not. So there you go. Those are all available to you. That is the way you can get in contact with the show. All those ways. All those ways.
How many ways?
Many ways. All of them. Any way you can think of getting a hold of us, there are ways to do it.
Semaphore.
Yes. Good.
Semaphore?
I believe we're still giving away 2 copies of Disco Elysium on Discord, by the way. If you want to go into the PC chat room, just tell me or Kev you want those. Tim's doing a thing.
Semaphore, without the flags.
Okay.
They were off screen. You had to imagine.
Why did you just spell That was a very rude word you spelt, Tim.
Yeah.
I thought he was playing YMCA. Did we ever finish your competition, Tim?
Yes. Although
Good,
I haven't
okay.
been contacted for the copy of the game, we did give it away to Spiky Chris, I believe, last week. No,
Spicy Chris. He's spicy.
No, Spiky.
Spicy.
But yeah,
Strangely, also spicy.
I'll contact you on Discord if you haven't nudged me yet. But yeah, give me an email address to send it to, and I will send you a code.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, that's everything, Dan. If you want to say the magic words and wrap us up.
Okay, well, that's
Like
it.
a
That's
present.
your lot for this week, ladies.
Like Tim wraps his victims up in cellophane while he cuts the bodies.
Yeah, or
Like Dexter.
Guys are always talking me
Or
into
in
trouble. It's either
newspapers.
like licking
Always
people's faces
newspapers.
or killing people or...
Remember when Tim murdered all those people in
Oh,
about
it was terrible.
1983?
Around
Around the
it's
Solon
dreadful.
area.
He was only age
When I
5.
was 5 years old.
Got his murdering in early, didn't he? Bless him, little cotton
have to
socks.
get you linked
Oh,
to
he
a
could,
murder
he
by
could barely
accident.
get his little fingers round the knife.
I just won't get Tim linked to a murder by accident.
This is not good.
All right.
I have to
Well,
escape
anyway, we're
from
going to go
prison.
now. There's enough of this nonsense. Yeah, I hope. Yeah, we'll find out whether or not Tim's internet is actually better in prison rather than his house. I'm guessing it probably is. Anyway, we're going to go now. So thank you ever so much for listening. Colman's told you all the places you need to click on, and we think you should jolly well click on them. So all that's really left for us to do is to remind you that I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
I'm in chaos, but not as chaotic as Tim's murders.
I would have got
Tim
away with it too if
Murder
it wasn't for
Hibs.
you pesky podcasters.
There we go. All right. See you later, Stabby Tim. All right, we're out of here. See you soon, ladies, gents. Stabby Tim. Until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
Ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarrel.com for more podcasts, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarrel.com.
Yes, for those of watching the video, Dan's put up the Steel Battalion
Look at that
controller,
bad boy.
which is that's insane.
That is
little,
immense.
little controller thing. Oh, that is
Look at that
amazing.
bad boy.
I love that. It's
I
amazing.
love the fact that there's a button that you have to flip the top
Yeah,
of.
yeah.